Morning,
Morning,
Tactical
guys.
Tuesday. We're
Thanks for having me
joined
on.
by Halle McCrory and my co-host with the most, Drew Swirsky.
That's
Welcome
me.
to Tactical Tuesday. Halle, we always start off with some energy. Tell us something good. What's good in your world?
I know. I'm loving the that we're hating on Bank of America this morning.
No,
I'm
they're
right there
good.
with
They're good.
you.
Maybe they've gotten better.
Honestly, that's what I've heard. So, but I'm primarily listings, and anytime I see someone come to me with a Bank of America pre-approval, I'm like, you might as well just go ahead and get a backup lender at this point because we're going to need someone
100%.
to save it.
Spoken like a
So,
veteran.
um, yeah, I think you get burned a couple times and you kind of learn what you have to tell people. So,
Hallie, where are you from?
so originally from North Carolina, went to
I'm
school
here. I'm in
there.
North Carolina right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
Greensboro for me. That's where I grew up.
Yeah. Very
What
cool.
about
I'm
you?
here launching. Here for one of our grid investor events
Okay.
supporting. So I'm out of Virginia normally, but
Okay. Are you in
I like
Charlotte or
the,
Raleigh or something
I'm
right
in
now?
Raleigh.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Navy Federal, awful, awful. Veterans United, awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm originally North Carolina. Went to school there, Wake Forest, Demon Deacons. Oh, nice, Mike. Yeah, love it. I went to Page High School. And then after school, graduated, went to Austin, Texas, got into tech sales. And just, first job out of college, didn't know what I wanted to do yet, but I knew I always had my parents both were entrepreneurs, and I always knew like any internship I did, I was always in some sort of sales role. So I was like, you know what, this is a good company, good on your resume. So got into tech sales, and while I was in Austin, I met my now husband, which has been a huge, uh, role in learning real estate for me. I guess growing up, my mom was both an agent and a lender, and she was always toting me around to model homes. She worked for a couple big builders back in the day. She was a lender during '08. And I always thought it was the most boring thing. Real estate was not sexy to me. I guess, and being like having to play by myself and model homes kind of tortured me too. So I never was interested in real estate until I met my now husband. So he is a home builder in San Angelo, Texas. And so we were doing long distance for a little bit, and having an established business there, I was the one. I always said I'd never move for a guy, but I ended up making the move to a town of 100,000. Big military town. If you are military, it's Goodfellow Air Force Base in San Angelo. So made the move to San Angelo, and was there for 6 years, and now convinced him to move to Dallas. Although we do split our times, we have houses, primary houses in both places now. Um, I definitely, it's two way different markets. So that's kind of something I'll be talking about today. This is like working with wholesalers has helped me break into a brand new market where it's very competitive. And I guess I had kind of a leg up getting into real estate. I married into a big real estate family. I already told you guys that my husband is a home builder, but his dad is really the one that started real estate for the family. So um, I learned everything I know about real estate pretty much from my father-in-law. He started out in landscape design, ended up in construction. He became the original home builder and got into investing and saw how much real estate could really change your life and help you build generational wealth from a pretty young age. So he got into investing. And by the time I got into real estate, I got my license in 2019. So just hit 6 years. He was already very seasoned. They had become the big I buy homes guys of San Angelo, Texas. And while it is a small town, it's being, military, having a strong medical base, tons of travel nurses and stuff. It's a really good area for investing. It's a really affordable market. There's always strong demand from people coming in and coming out. So it's definitely an interesting market to learn in. And now I'm going through, I think probably like my first full cycle. 2019, pretty steady market there, and then going into 2020 and COVID, I got tainted from the beginning. I'm like, wow, real estate's great, like 2 to 3% interest rates. So, we were churning and burning. My husband and his dad, like I said, they're the big I buy houses guys of the town, and they were flipping about 65 homes a year, building a couple affordable spec homes as well. Nothing custom yet. So I really got to learn the flip process. Just with that many homes a year, had a lot of opportunity to learn, and I took that strength and started representing other flippers and builders as well. So I've got, a lot of transactions under my belt at this point, especially when they're like, $100,000, $200,000 homes. That's really prepped me for moving into more luxury or near luxury properties in Dallas. So where do I go from here? I guess,
Hallie,
yeah.
I'm gonna be the one today, if Justin and Joe are cool with this, interviewing you with some questions,
Okay,
because
yes,
you
perfect.
play the model that I have played for like the last 20 years. Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Um, my world has been primarily working with builders, developers, investors, and I
Yes.
call this the agent investor. I always say I have the mind of an investor, but the heart of an agent. I understand the game from a 360 perspective,
Yes.
right? And so what I want to do is dissect how you play the game, right? Because
Okay.
like every
Yes.
market slightly, there's some nuances. So when you wake up in the morning and you're thinking about taking territory, right? Like Tuesdays for us is take territory Tuesdays. What has been your approach, right? I heard you say like you broke into a market, you started working with wholesalers, like builders, developers. So like
Yep.
explain to me what you do and how you do it and why
Yes.
you do it.
Yeah. Well, and like kind of my story leads up into how I even got into that. So I guess fast forward a little bit. My Sorry, I was looking at the chat. Like I guess so 2021, 2022, or I guess it's right when interest rates went up. So like 2022, 2023, my husband got out of flipping, and he got into custom stuff. And then that's when we started looking at Dallas, and his dad was starting to retire, and that's when Colin was taking over the business. And his dad actually moved to Minnesota. He met a girl and moved, and that's when his dad got into wholesaling, because he was like, I'm not ready to fully retire. And that's how I really started to understand the wholesale side.
Mhm.
Um, so I was like, I was seeing where he was, if you don't know wholesale, does everybody on this call probably know what wholesaling is? Or should I kind of explain that?
Yeah, probably the majority know on
Okay.
this call. Yeah.
So that's when I really started to understand, like, wow, that makes sense, because everybody was still calling my,
What is wholesaling? I'm gonna
okay,
err on the side of, if I've learned one thing in leading great communities around the country, it is
yes,
explaining LTV and ARV is the most valuable thing I do in the room. Like
yes,
no one explains the 101 sometimes. So sorry.
yes.
Thank you,
Okay, so I
Justin.
might butcher this. Y'all are definitely more like investor heavy than me. But basically, the premise of wholesaling is somebody like a wholesaler, they'll be calling properties, they'll find, someone who wants to sell their property undervalued for whatever reason that might be, distressed property, they don't have the money to fix it up. Um, somebody died, and they just want it off their hands. It's somebody that wants to move their property fast and for cheap. So there's an opportunity here to buy an undervalued property. Um, this wholesaler also has likely made connections of investors who are looking for these types of properties. So what they'll do is they'll know what this seller wants to sell their property for. They'll know what this investor probably likely will want to buy it for, and see what that gap is. And that gap is the income for that wholesaler. Is that an
Yeah, it's
okay
perfect.
way to explain it?
Yeah, explain perfectly. You sell paper. That's it. You sell
Right,
paper.
yeah.
And it
Yeah,
could
you're
be.
just basically, you're getting paid to help people find deals.
Mhm, mhm.
So I saw this, model, and I'm like, okay, wow, like I feel like that's a lot easier than what I'm doing over here. And at the same time, my husband's brother, so now we've got another person in the family that's in real estate as well. He started working for one of the largest national wholesalers in the country, New Western Acquisitions. They're in a lot of the big cities. Um, their model doesn't work everywhere, but when it does work in a city, they take over. So he started working for New Western in Dallas. So I'm getting, I'm learning bits and pieces from my father-in-law, my brother-in-law, what's working for them, how they're acquiring, how they're dispoing. So so basically, I'm like, we're taking over San Angelo. I think we're ready to expand into a bigger market. And that's kind of a personal thing. Like Dallas has better schools than San Angelo. When we get to the family part, no kids yet, just fur babies, and they might bark in the background. So I apologize in advance. But I'm thinking about as we're making the move to Dallas, and I'm like, this is a huge city versus San Angelo, 100,000 people. Like I gotta be prepared. I know what to do. I've done well in real estate, but this is a different market. So I guess I need to like hone in on what kind of niche I want to get into and what my plan is going to be. And I knew I sat down and I was like, what is my favorite type of property to sell? I love marketing, so I've always been primarily a listing agent. And then, investing has always been of interest for me with what we have going on. So I sat down, I'm like, I think what I thought my answer was going to be was new construction, just having the knowledge from what my husband does. But when it came down to it, I'm like, flip properties are my favorite to sell. It's way less paperwork than new builds and drama, I feel like. And number two, it's just like it's a quicker turnaround and it's still like it's not as emotional as working with just I guess like the regular retail buyer seller profile. So I was like, I really want to focus in. And I also, oh, number three, I also want to increase my price point. Yeah, cash conversion cycle is faster. So I was like, I really want to hone in on near luxury and luxury flips. And I'm living in that market. I'm living in a near luxury neighborhood that's popular. I go around and walk my dogs and I'm seeing potential properties that could be flipped. So that I made that kind of my target. And so I'm like, okay, so how am I going to find these properties? I can start calling people. I can start using PropStream. If you don't know what PropStream is, it's a platform about $100 a month, and you can type in cities, zip codes. You can map out areas, and it can pull different lists for you. So people with high equity in their house. Owner like people vacant properties where nobody's living in the property, potentially tired landlord properties. It's just kind of like a data mine for real estate investors on this platform. So I'm going through this, I'm thinking about this, and then I also know in the back of my head, I know that there's like not only is there New Western out here with whole teams of people doing this. There's also like probably 20 other different little wholesale companies that aren't New Western that are also doing this. So I'm like, I'm kind of getting my head like, I've got a lot of competition. And not that I still don't prospect myself too. I was like, I think I got to start working with my enemies on this, right? And now it's not enemies, it's partners. So I'm like, these people are already doing this work. Yes, there's a markup, but there's also negotiation here. And I've got people on my side who can help me navigate this, navigate probably what their markups are here, how much we might be able to push. If I'm helping, an investor who wants to flip a property and, sees value in one of the properties they have, I think we can still gain from this. Um, so thank you, Julianne, for putting in PropStream too. So I'm like, I'm going to start making relationships with these wholesalers and seeing what's out there because, um, like I said, I need to work with them. I'm not, it doesn't need to be seen as competition. They're already out there. There's armies of people going after these properties. I might as well play the game with them and see just, if it doesn't work out, then I can quit and pivot to a new plan. So, the way that I started, I already knew some of the big players just from my brother-in-law. Like I knew New Western Acquisitions. Um, there's been like two other companies, like two guys who have left New Western and started their own companies, and I just knew that from talking with my brother-in-law, and just simple Google, like wholesale companies, Dallas. But I was like, I need to start getting in with like certain reps with them because I understood that they have their own, each one of their reps has their own like clientele, and the better relationship you have, the earlier on you can get in. Like they might tell you about a property before they actually email out to their database, and that's when it becomes like multiple offers or competing, driving up price. Still happens off market. So the way I did this, I already started out a little bit, but honestly, Facebook, as much as I freaking hate Facebook, if you're not using Facebook in real estate, no matter what side of real estate you're in, you're missing out big time. Like that's where a lot of people are posting their leads, whether it be wholesalers or even property owners too. For whatever reason, people turn to Facebook groups for advice on real estate. Probably, probably not the best, but works in our favor as investors. So I went out and I went and joined a bunch of DFW Facebook groups. And I mean, even just looking through the groups, there's people posting, I have an opportunity here. And once you start messaging with them, or even you'll start to identify, you can tell who's a wholesaler and kind of who's not, just from their messaging. Um, Usually like they'll say looking for end buyers, or I think that's probably the biggest one. And I think now it's hard to say. I feel like I can just tell at this point, but the way I started to be able to just to tell is messaging them, asking about the opportunity, and then asking to be put on their list and letting them know what, I'm an agent. I'm also looking for myself, but I've got plenty of investors to connect the gap here, and I can have them pay my commission on this, or, work this in on the back end and get my commission as the listing agent when they're done flipping the property. So
So Hallie, let's
yeah,
let me
back
double
up.
click
Okay.
on that real fast, right? Because there's a couple ways you can monetize this.
Yes.
So you're monetizing it by bringing that off-market property to your investor, and your investor is going to pay you. Like that's one way,
Right.
2, 3, 4, 5, whatever percent commission. The
Right.
other way is you might bake it into the actual part of the assignment fee. Is that right? Is that what you're saying? So
So
you're just adding an assignment on top of the assignment. Is that what you're doing?
yes, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And
Yeah.
you can, I mean, I like to be transparent about it just
100%.
because everybody's weary, but I know there are people who just, if there's like, if the wholesaler says, it's this certain price, they just add on, a 3% to that and tell the investor this is what it costs and I'm
Yeah.
getting paid out of this. So, but
Yeah,
then
there's
the other
yeah, for
way is,
anybody listening, and the reason why that works is because the end buyer is a cash buyer, right? Like this is normally just happening super fast. Like,
yep.
right.
Yeah, it's a fast game in these wholesale contracts. Unless the deal's not very good and you try to negotiate it down, then it's not so fast. But yeah, I always tell any like investors that I connect with, like you usually have to move pretty quick on these. So we got to be ready to like bring GCs out if if you're not comfortable looking at construction yourself, which most investors are not. So I guess the other way too, if there's not enough spread on the front end, where you getting a commission won't work on that front end. I've also done like LOIs or had my attorney prepare like a document for me, basically guaranteeing that I'm going to be the listing agent and I'm going to get paid on the back end for
Yeah.
when they're done flipping the property. So that at some point I am getting paid on this. It's just a longer cycle, but I'm okay with that. Especially if it's a big property. I'm okay with like the long game in it.
Hallie,
Um,
can I make a comment on this for anybody listening, right? One of the reasons why this is such a great strategy is if you think about traditional real estate, um, the typical buyer and seller is only going to transact one every 10 years. So think about that. Like one time every 10 years, and maybe they'll send you one or two referrals over that time. But literally, Hallie can, and that's if you crush it, by the way, like staying in touch with your database forever. But Hallie can build a relationship with one person and do 5, 10, 15, 20 in a year, right? And it's a different game at that point. And so it's a multi-transactional game, because you like it. That's why I like it, because you just compound it so much faster. So I just want
yeah.
to interject for the people that are trying to understand this model.
Yeah, well, and it's good too. It's more efficient because that one person also like you end up having, or I guess I'm kind of a systems person just for like saving brain power and being efficient, but like you guys kind of get used to each other's systems and that's when things get really fast. You're like, oh, okay, like TC's sending it over, sign,
Yeah.
like let's get our list of updates. You kind of learn how each other works together and it becomes a really nice synergy. So I'm with you on that too, Rob.
So you're getting the agreement um of getting the
Yep.
listing on the back end. And what I
Yes.
heard you say is you're in this like tween luxury neighborhood. So a lot of the back end listings are going to be luxury listings, like new construction luxury listings. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact game I played for years, right? So
Yeah. But like it doesn't necessarily have to be that way either. Like I
no,
mean I'm getting deals all over the Metroplex. I just am niching into what's best for me. I know I don't have the capacity to drive, 45 minutes to an hour every day. So I'm really focusing on these pockets, 15, 20 minutes around my immediate house.
we call that zoning a market,
Hmm.
Hallie, where eventually your level of efficiency increases so much more because you know all the inventory within those 15 minutes around your house. You know the market, you know the street, you know which builder is going to build it, because builders are very regional too, right? Like
Right.
they infill build in areas like where we are in Northern Virginia, like Arlington builders just build in Arlington, and Falls Church builders build in Falls Church, and Great Falls builders build in Great Falls. And yet they're like 10 minutes from each other, but the rules are slightly different.
Right.
Um, so very cool.
Yes. So I guess like coming back to this too, I'll find deals. Okay, so Facebook, I've gone on, I see people posting opportunities to buy houses. I'm messaging them saying, I'm interested, introducing myself. I have like a whole copy and paste deal in my notes. Again, like saving brain power here, having a system. So I'm learning who the wholesalers are. I'm getting probably like 20 emails a day of new opportunities. And again, not all of them, a lot of them can't like niche into what you want. You're on their database. And so you're getting a wide spread, but that's okay. Because they usually in their subject line, they put where the area is. So I'm like, delete, delete, delete. Oh, this one, I see this zip code. This is one of my zip codes. So, so that's what how I'm connecting with wholesalers. Um, Basically Facebook groups. Then how I'm getting investors, I'm taking those deals and I'm not giving away all the details because you do have to sign like little NDAs and stuff because they don't want you taking their deals and you know trying to make another deal with the seller or there's a bunch of different no-nos there, but I'm going on, so I have a large following on Instagram, also like a large following on Facebook, and then LinkedIn. I would say LinkedIn I actually do too. Maybe not in my immediate market, but that's the beauty of investing. There's people who are willing to invest different areas as long as the deal makes sense for them. So I'm actually posting just a couple little blurbs like flip opportunity in Ridgewood Park, Dallas, Texas. Um, just whatever little details that I can give about the neighborhood, like looking ARVs looking like this. And then I'll post it on stories, whatever it might be. And I'm picking, like I have people message me and I'm making lists of those people. So I'll get on the phone with them and kind of see what they're interested in doing, what their play is, and kind of help them determine if this is going to be an opportunity for them. If not this one, then I end up finding out what their buy box is. There we go. And I have like a whole Google Doc of what type of investor this person is, what they're looking for, what their purpose is. Is it buy and hold and rent to their kids? Is it flip? So I have like a whole categorization for myself. You could do this with a CRM too. I just like looking at it, and I think my list is small enough where it's manageable, or control F, I can quickly find the people I need to on there. So I have my people organized there, and anytime I see an opportunity, I'm seeing how I can connect with those people. But like posting just little snippets of those opportunities, I'm not giving everything away, so that I do have people message me, kind of like lead generation funnel there. And that's how I'm kind of connecting the dots. Does that make sense?
I love it. Yeah, perfect. We call it our 4C formula,
Okay.
which is you create content that starts a conversation, right? Like somebody's DMing you, hey, I want to know more, right?
Yes.
That leads to a connection, a human relationship, because like at some point you're going to get on the phone. That leads to a closing, right?
Yes.
It's just a 4C simple framework for doing that. Awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So it's just kind of like I feel like I'm puzzle piecing
Yeah.
almost. So that's been my model here, and the whole like as long as the wholesalers, as long as they get paid, this is all good with them. They're definitely all agent friendly, as long as you're not like messing up their process or anything.
Yeah, Hallie, let me ask you some questions around that, right? And then I'm
Yes.
gonna I'm gonna plus it a little bit. Um, where can somebody mess this up? If somebody's like, I love this, this sounds like what I want to do, where can they mess this up? How do they mess it up?
Um, I would say probably potentially revealing too much data to where uh, they have like the the back end investor goes and tries to, they're like, oh, well, this is like, why am I having to pay this wholesale person? I'm going to go try to make a relationship with this seller. I know the address now. Let me try to like skis behind everybody. That's where you can really, that's where people
Yeah.
are going to get pissed off at you. Likely it won't even work because they've already got a contract with that seller. Um, they've already told the seller, if anybody tries to contact you, you tell us. Like
Yeah, they're
being
they're they're
greedy is
burning
never
the
gonna be the answer, but you don't want to be the one who facilitated that. So I don't give out the actual address until, I run through. I'm like, this is I got this deal through one of my wholesale contacts. I need to get permission from them, and they probably will have you sign a document, kind of like a NDA, in order to go see the house. So I'm like tiptoe on that and bring the wholesaler into it, let them know I have somebody available. Say at this point, what information can I share here? Can I give the address? What do they need to sign in order to, in order for me to bring them into this?
Hallie, are you familiar with Investor Lift?
No.
Okay, go check out investorlift.com.
Okay.
And then
Put it on
you'll
my
be like,
to-do.
ooh, how do I compete against Investor Lift? Right? A little
Okay.
bit. So that just something for you to research later.
Yes.
Um, okay, here, do you ever, and this is part of the play that we developed, right? Go to those hard, like the wholesalers that are doing it like at scale, right? And
Mhm.
they get lots of leads that come in. But many of those leads are retail leads. Okay, many of them are retail leads. Do you ever monetize the retail leads for those investors?
So I haven't had a bunch of that happen. Mostly it's been through my brother-in-law, just, family connection. But I do always plug that, like, hey, if you come across any leads that aren't fits for y'all, I will absolutely do a referral. Like if I go and I close this, I'll give you a referral.
Yeah, one thing that we've done as part of the play is we'll go sign an exclusive agreement with that company. And they
Hmm.
have thousands of older leads. And
Yeah,
what we'll do is we'll have a 25% referral fee with them. We'll say
yeah,
our inside sales team will pound out these calls, book appointments for our listing team, and then when we list them and we sell them, we'll pay you a 25% referral fee, which will
yeah,
help offset your marketing, right? Because they've got all these what we call dead leads or orphan leads in the system.
yeah. That's actually really, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll give you another one, right?
Yeah.
Hard money lenders. How do you work with hard money lenders, or do you work with hard money lenders?
So I have a couple contacts. We don't personally. I mean, and this is again, I'm married into a real estate family, like, and being in construction and, or my husband being in construction, we've had to have a lot of good, make a lot of good relationships with these small town banks. So, we rely on them. And then we've also got, made relationships with like financial advisors who will do, asset-based lending too,
Perfect.
basically operating as cash. So that's where we're at. But I've worked with hard money lenders for other investors as well. So I do have contacts there.
Well,
That's the
this is because you're a listing agent. Here's another way to think about it, right?
yeah.
1%, 1 to 2% of all those, what these are the at scale hard money lenders. Okay.
Okay.
So 1 to 2% of their assets go bad, and they need a real estate agent to sell those assets for them. So think of it just like being an REO agent. So one of the plays that we developed was going to the largest hard money lenders in markets and just being like, listen, I know that for the most part, all your loans are good. But every now and then there's something that didn't go right. The person didn't complete the build. And
Oh yeah.
I'd love to be your go-to agent to get those listed so we can put that money back to work for you.
Yeah.
Right? And that is brought in a lot of listings for us.
Wow. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
I didn't even because I don't know, I just yeah, not one you like normally think about. That's a great one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, when you're a dinosaur like me, this is what happens. You just learn the game, right? It's like, yeah. So hard money lenders need help selling those assets,
Yeah,
right?
love it.
Yeah.
That's really,
Justin,
yeah, that's really what I've
Um, no, that was fantastic, right? Drew and I, this is what we wanted to know. This is exactly, we talked about it yesterday. Hey, let's break down exactly how is she finding these off-market opportunities. So one comment and then some questions. One thing I would say is the math is pretty crazy. If you're talking to wholesalers, I want to say it might be in the 60s and above, but over 50% of those leads turn into listings within 6 months. If they turn down a wholesaler, they're a listing. That's a motivated seller, so that's a huge referral opportunity. It's like one of the biggest ones people don't know in the country. Um, what's the math? So there's always math. We talk about the math and all of this stuff. That this is just math. So you're doing a prospecting based approach in these Facebook groups.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a bit of networking if it's an actual community, but a lot of those are just kind of like a yard sale almost. You're not like building a reputation in the group necessarily. So how many people are you talking to? Like, what does that look like? Hey, I have 100 conversations to get 3 deals. Like, what do you think the conversion on it is?
I don't think I'm quite there yet to give you numbers like that. This is
Sure.
still relatively new process for me. Um,
How many deals have you done from this process?
I've I've done four, and then I've got one that's being worked on that will be like a long game fifth.
Love it.
So yeah,
Uh,
I think it's too early on to say, but maybe we could like recap this in a year.
yeah, no, that's fine. Like I love the
Um,
honesty instead of making up numbers, right?
yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean, it honestly, it takes me 5 minutes to go make a story on Instagram, a post on Facebook, and a post on LinkedIn, maybe even less. Um,
Rob's word of the week is compounding.
yeah,
And so this is right. Yeah, is in the gym here, like
right.
just making incremental
Yeah.
increments. So we talked about zone. You can go look in the comments of what it is.
Hmm.
Zero in on your niche, own the mind share through marketing, networking, or prospecting, nurture that database, right? And earn the
Right.
heart share, right? Heart share leads to mind share, leads to market share. So just, and how do you do that? Through that 4 C's. So like you build
Hmm.
those relationships, you're consistently making a little post to try to attract, your wholesaler, making a little post to attract your end buyer consistently,
Right.
watching it compound for free. It's a free lead source.
Yes.
Um, Mike asked, do you ever have the buyer? So like this wholesale transaction, it's A to B to C, right? A is my original seller, my wholesaler is my B, my end
Hmm.
buyer is C. Do you ever have that end buyer, my C, trying to go around the wholesaler and talk directly to the buyer, which I think you mentioned a
Yes.
little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't work with them again.
Oh, or do you ever have them? No, a different one. Do you ever see
Oh.
them try to go around you and not use you in the future?
Um, I haven't run into that yet, but I feel like most of the people that anybody that I've worked with, I already have some sort of relationship with. Um, like where it would be really embarrassing for them. Like for example, one of my mother-in-law's best friends is an investor I'm working with right now. Like if she were to go around me, it would be really embarrassing to her best friend for like to for her to know and like go to my mother-in-law and say that she did that. It's kind of relationships like that. Not to say that that probably won't happen. Um,
Another way to think about this, right, is um, rehabbers and builders are busy people rehabbing and building, and they don't have time to scout the way Hallie is scouting. She's being a scout, and they know that if they kill the golden goose who's scouting for them, right,
mhm,
and they try to get out of their lane of building and flipping and go around her, they've just hurt themselves, right? Because
yeah,
everything is about focus. They should be focused on getting the reno done quickly or building the property quickly, right? That's where their brain is. If you get somebody who's like, oh, I'm going to try to circumnavigate Hallie, one, that reputation spreads in the market. So even if it's a big market like Dallas, everybody knows the wholesaler that's just the slimy wholesaler. Everybody knows the person that just doesn't live up to their promises. Like everything compounds, Justin, right? Either positively for you or negatively for you. And so it's just, those people
yeah.
don't last.
Well, and that's a part of your relationship building with the wholesaler too. Like if they see that going on, you want to have a good enough relationship where they're gonna let you know. But I think it's also telling, like if I were the wholesaler in that position and seeing that go down, I'm gonna be worried about them trying to circumnavigate me to the seller as well.
Yeah. Well,
Anybody
this has
have
been awesome.
questions? Anybody have questions? And they can be like, I still don't understand what wholesaling is. I will say, my big takeaway here from doing this for a long time is I have never gotten an LOI to protect my ability to list a property after the fact.
I don't know.
No, that's
I
fancy. No,
just
that's just so
there's still a
smart
lot of
because
things
that's
that
the
could, you
bigger.
know.
I've done the thing, where it's just like, well, just list it with me, and uh, I had a deal where I didn't put anything in writing, and an agent made $500,000, and someone closed a $17 million deal, and I got to list a property for 165,000 as my reward. It's fun, yeah, because there's no work in that. I love selling you $165,000. Thank you. So it's like him paying me with a watch. Like, here, just go pawn this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't put anything in writing. I was like, that's on me. It's a valuable lesson.
Christina said, do you have non-exclusive buyer agreements in place with all of your investor buyers?
That's a good question.
So I kind of toggled around with that, Christina, and I just started before we go on any showings. Being a realtor, I'm like, I don't want to get my hand slapped or worse. I'm going to be complicit with NAR, even though I don't always agree with NAR, and I'm going to get a buyer rep agreement signed before I go show something.
Yeah, cool.
So,
Stuff.
yes.
Good stuff.
Holly, what's the one thing you might do differently if you're doing it again?
Um, Again, I think that that will be our recap. I think there's going to be more that I run into.
Yeah.
I would say though, like just overall, um, I have gotten really good at determining kind of just off initial conversations, people I want to work with and people I don't want to work with. If you have kind of a gut feeling that a certain person is going to be a really difficult client for you, I think trust your gut on that. That's somewhere where and that could be any type of real estate. Um I think that's the biggest lesson that I've had to learn. Especially as a new agent or new investor, um you can feel the pressure of having to get a deal done, like knowing I've got to eat, I've got to make money. But working with someone that's going to make your life a living hell and make it more stressful than it needs to be is never worth it to me. Like this,
Well,
this should be fun. Life should be
Yeah,
fun, and that's
yes.
something for everybody to think about as we kind of start wrapping up a little bit. So I originally built Grid for this, Hallie, like years ago. It wasn't called Grid, but I would put myself in a room and I brought investors to me to talk about the thing that we love, which is real estate investing. And then
right.
I would scan the room and say, who's the one or two or three people I actually want to go out and grab a cup of coffee with because they look like they're legit. I could tell you get that vibe. You're like, I want to know more about what they're doing and what they're building. So I would go take them out for coffee, learn about what they wanted, learn about what they were building, which those relationships compounded in my database over time, right? Those people ended up lending me money. Those people ended up being partners of mine on assets. Like, eventually I was just like, hey, I bring the asset, you put up the money, we split it 50-50. I own 50% of this asset, we'll manage it, right? So they helped me build wealth. I helped them build wealth. Um, but it is a community. Like what I love about this game is that you're noticing it's a community of people that are all like in the business of doing deals together. And eventually you'll find that most of your clients, and you already kind of alluded to this a little bit, are business owners, right?
Mhm.
Meaning they own other businesses and real estate is a vehicle they're using to
Yeah,
compound their own wealth, right? Have you
right.
noticed that?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So a strategy could be, Hallie, that you start going out to the business community and say, hey, I help these other business owners compound their wealth by bringing deals to them. I don't know if you have any interest in that, but if you did, I'd love to talk to you about it.
Yeah. Actually, and that's kind of I don't know, I guess that's kind of one of the reasons I wanted to move to a bigger city, bigger town, to have more relationships like that, period,
Yeah,
with other big thinkers, with other business owners, other entrepreneurs. So I think already, and maybe that's why this has kind of worked out so well, so quick for me. Like a lot of the people that I'm connected with on social media are business owners, and
yeah,
I mean, those are the people who raised me. So that
yeah.
that makes sense
You
too.
naturally are connected to that tribe.
Mm-hmm.
And because you're naturally connected to that tribe, that tribe, like you value them, they value you. There's a
Yeah.
natural energy that's there. So,
It,
well, this is speaking my love language today. So, Hallie, thank you so much.
Thank
right?
y'all. I appreciate you having me on.
Can I'm gonna put a pin on this if that's okay. I appreciate you coming on, Hallie. So I met Hallie through a young professionals network. And so everyone on this call, there's a couple things that I would suggest is one, invite somebody next week. We're gonna be talking about AI. You'd be amazed, like invite a co-op agent, invite your comp, like I built an entire by being friends with other agents, right? They let me into the network. Yeah, yeah. It's not so these things. Here's the thing I would just say is like, so shockingly, right? I won like a cultural award, national one in one of them, and I was 39. It's nuts and bananas. I was like, I don't know why I am doing this. Young professionals networks, the people that are motivated and in their are some of like that's the future. These people are incredibly sharp. Like it'll keep you young. It makes the game. Anybody feel motivated talking to Hallie, right? Also, it's just this great thing of like, and if I can talk about it, it might be embarrassing, Hallie, right? Hallie, we have Aaron Thomas in our network. Aaron Thomas is this, right? Incredible, vivacious, like, and she works commercial. She could crush that like, you know, uh, affluent, kind of attractive marketer vibe. Like Hallie does that as well. Great social media, right? And she's like, what I want to do, I want to work with investors because the transaction is simpler and it's cleaner and it's less stressful, right? I don't want to be out here attracting, like doing the marketing and attracting very difficult clients for high-end new builds, right? It's insane, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
We know anyone that's been in the luxury building space knows your pain, Hallie. Very, very, very well. Like you earn all of that money through totally unreasonable expectations. Whole other side conversation, right? And so it's just like, here's someone who had a plan, who has crushed that part of the game everyone tells you to go do. Go do social media, go do this, like get a viral post or something. I met her through a young professionals network. So I highly encourage you, if you're in any sort of brokerage, if you go to anything of these national things, go check out one of those young professional events. Go invite yourself. Go be around those. Like they need speakers, they need other people. Like support those. YPN is available. That's your local NAR level is available to everybody. Like that's an easy way to get into a relationship with people. Um, and I just think it's the same model of like, how do I go right? Get a multi-transactional. We nailed it today. And I want to talk about like how do I build a niche around it? It can be that simple of you all can access a Facebook group. You all can make a post on social media. It costs no money. How do we follow you, Hallie, if we want to kind of like watch what you're doing, engage with you
Yeah.
afterwards, be in a relationship?
So actually, Julianne put all of my socials in the chat. We've got my
Cool.
LinkedIn, Facebook,
Yeah,
Instagram, YouTube on there.
I followed
Nice.
her. Let's do
Thank
it.
you. I'll follow you back.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming out. Sure,
Yes, I
we
want to
won't
start
talk so
popping
much
on
next
these.
time,
This was great.
but we did cover, me and Drew had a little powwow of what we wanted to go. And thank you, Rob. You went exactly what we wanted to go is walk me through exactly how I'm finding off-market deals in today's market. That's the play of the future. So go take some territory. Hallie, thank you. Rob, thanks for pouring into us. Be excellent, y'all.